This video is just going to be a review and give you some extra notes on how to solve for a given variable. So when solving for a given variable, you have to get whatever variable they're asking you to solve for on one side and everything else on the other side. So for this example, we are going to actually solve for x. So what that means is we got to get x by itself. So I'm going to take my 5y and move it on this side. So I have 2x equals, when I move my positive 5y, it becomes a negative 5y. So I have 10 minus 5y. You could also write negative 5y plus 10. That works as well. So now I know that 2x is equal to 10 minus 5y. So I'm going to divide both sides and everything on both sides by 2. So x equals 5 minus 5 halves y. Now, if you notice, my y didn't divide evenly, and that's okay. We can have fractions as answers, as we have done before. And I'm just going to simplify it and keep it as 5 halves y. Do not rewrite it as a proper fraction. Do not put it as a decimal, because then it only gets more complicated when we get into the next part of chapter 5 and we use the two equations together. And when you have mixed fractions or you have decimal, it gets more complicated. So always remember to leave it as an improper fraction. This one we're solving for y. Now this goes back to when I said everything comes full circle and we're going to use the distributive property all year. Well, that's the first thing I have to do. Remember, looking back in your notes, this is like saying I have two groups of y minus 3. So if I have two groups of y minus 3, that means I have two y's, and two groups of negative 3 gives me a negative 6, and that's equal to 4. So then I have to get y by itself. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides because I'm going to move my negative 6 over this way. So then I'm left with 2y equals 10. Divide by 2. Y would equal 5. Now in this case, I don't have another variable, and that's okay. Sometimes you're just left with one variable, and that's fine. This problem, I want you to copy down your notebook. 3 times the quantity 2x plus 4 equals 2 plus 6x plus 10. Go ahead and solve for x in this one, and I'm actually going to check your work tomorrow to make sure you've done it correctly.